Call the meeting to order, the Wilmington City Council. I'm going to take a roll call at this time. Mayor Pro Tem, are you here? Councilmember Reinbach, are you here? Councilmember Anderson? Councilmember Barnett? Councilmember Spears?
Present.
Councilmember Waddell? Chair is here. Okay. Have our invocation presentations. We have 3 tomorrow night. C1 is approval of the minutes. C2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement to purchase a high water rescue vehicle from Eastern Surplus and Equipment of Philadelphia, PA in the amount of $94,650 with funds awarded from the New Hanover Community Endowment Fund for 2022 Cape Fear Opportunities and Needs Grant. C3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 with Cloud Revolution Services of Lafayette, Colorado for a one-time fee of $13,500 for a contract total of $96,948. C4A is a resolution certifying sufficiency of the annexation petition for property located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road. C4B is a resolution establishing a public hearing for annexation of property located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road. Public information, public hearings. PH1 is an ordinance designating the Giblin Lodge located at 19 North 8th Street as a local historic landmark.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
If I may, you have a substitute ordinance on your desk. It doesn't affect the ordinance at all, except for the fact that the citation for what gives us the authority to make the designation was cited under the old code. It was just a cut and paste error, so we just corrected that. So if you'll use that substitute ordinance tomorrow night.
Substitute ordinance will be used. PH2A is an ordinance modifying an existing MHLCD multifamily residential district medium-high density legacy conditional district boundary located at 111 Warehouse Lane, 3902 Market Street and 3804 Market Street by removing a portion of land from existing conditional district and adding a portion of an adjacent O&I office and institutional district parcel. And then PH2B is an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Wilmington to rezone property located at 3804 Market Street from MHLCD multifamily residential district medium high density legacy conditional district to O&I office and institutional district. Lawyer must have wrote that. Resolutions. R1 is a resolution accepting the highest sealed bid received for the sale of 1110 Castle Street. And then R2 is a resolution amending City of Wilmington Policy 212, paid leave to establish Juneteenth as a recognized paid holiday in the City of Wilmington. And then R3 is a resolution amending the City Council's travel budget. And I believe that is all we have.
Mr. Mayor, we have one item for you this morning in addition to the agenda. We'll allow Amy Beatty to introduce the subject. It is been previously requested by council that the folks with Live Nation come and address council regarding ticket policies, and Amy will introduce that for us.
Good morning, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. Ryan Belcher, General Manager with Live Nation, is here to speak with you this morning about ticketing and some other activities that Live Nation is undertaking.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning.
My name is Ryan Belcher. I'm the General Manager here with Live Nation in Wilmington, and this is?
Good morning. I'm Heather Wood, Operations Manager with Live Nation.
Perfect. So today we wanted to come talk to you guys about some of the ticketing things that we're doing in Wilmington, some of the community involvement, some of the diversity of shows, some of the upgrades to Greenfield Lake, and just answer any general operations questions we can answer for you guys. So for both Live Oak Bank and Greenfield Lake, we are now holding a percentage of tickets just for Wilmington residents to come pick up. And we did a community event on Saturday, which we had 100 additional tickets for 8 shows for people to come up and pick up tickets from our box office here. Excuse me, I don't like being on stage.
That's okay.
So basically, we had 33% of our tickets at Greenfield Lake from 3 counties. Out of the 18 shows we've announced here, We sold approximately half of those shows are already sold out. And 67% of our tickets, excuse me, and 67% of our tickets were sold from different zip codes outside of Wilmington. For Greenfield Lake, we've announced 20 shows so far, and we plan on doing about 20 more shows there.
You say 20 shows and you got 20 more coming, so that means you're going to have a total of 40 shows at Greenfield Lake?
Correct. A little bit less, yes.
A little bit less than that?
Yeah.
Okay, and could you also tell me, you'd indicated that you had, how many counties had come to Wilmington to see shows, whether it be at Greenfield Lake or whether it be at the amphitheater?
Yeah, let me regroup. So we basically had, out of the 3 counties surrounding Wilmington, 65% of our ticket sales were from the 3 counties surrounding Wilmington. For Greenfield Lake, for Live Oak Bank, only 33% was for the 3 counties surrounding Wilmington, which shows that obviously, 65% of tickets came from outside of Wilmington area, which is a pretty impressive number, and we're not surprised with that number. It's kind of on par for what we did last year, but it's a good number that shows who's coming to Wilmington from different areas, spending money at the hotels, restaurants for Live Oak Bank. And again, no surprise that that those numbers correlate with the last 2 years. I mean, we're marketing to the same folks. We're doing a lot of the same marketing campaigns. So we're really pleased to have those numbers. And what I'm glad for is on this ticketing platform, or this ticketing incentive, we can basically, limit some tickets that are just going to be available for Wilmington residents or people that want to travel to the box office to come out and purchase. So Saturday, again, we put 8 shows that were already on sale back on sale with extra tickets and only opened it up to the box office. So that experience used to be part of ticketing and going to shows, was going to the box office and getting tickets. Now most everything's online. So we're really pleased to be able to hold those tickets back for residents.
So Ryan, how would someone know how many tickets were available for people, let's just say for Wilmington? So they would go to the box office, and when we say box office, we mean the box office
Yes.
at the park?
Yeah, physical box office,
Okay,
yes.
and then they would come down, would they call you first, or would they go online and say there's a certain amount of tickets available at the box office today, or?
Every show is different, so depending on the show, it could be 1,000 tickets, it could be a couple hundred tickets. For Dave Matthews, for example, we opened up the box office at Live Oak Bank just for a certain amount of tickets to be held. Those did not sell out at the box office, then we release those online. So that'll be our policy. Anything that doesn't sell in the box office locally will be released online. So we've put it on our social media. That's the main way that people know about it. And one of the cool things about this is that this isn't in every market. We're actually one of 3 markets that I know of that do this. The demand here in Wilmington is such that we have 2 amphitheaters within 3 miles of each other. The music demand is strong here.
I'm going to go to Mayor Pro Tem, and then we have several questions here.
Yeah,
just
of course.
Conversation. If you could kind of square up
Yeah.
over here, because we can speak into the mic so everybody can hear you. Thank you.
I'm curious what type of tickets they are. Is it the lawn tickets, or you have a variety of tickets, or what?
Yeah, it depends on the show. Again, some tickets there are no lawn seats because we're just all general admission, and Greenfield Lake is obviously general admission, so it would be that. But we like to have a variety of tickets, different seating sections. So reserved seats, lawn. We've opened up the VIP deck as well. So not every show will have reserved seats. Some shows will only have one ticketing type, but we've held back a variety of tickets in order to have that done.
So who's the VIP deck open to?
The VIP deck will typically season ticket holders, and then you can get a VIP add-on to a ticket. But we've limited that number to only 26, excuse me.
Mr. Waddell?
Yep. So is this a new initiative to have some reserved tickets for local listeners?
Yeah, we started this year, so we did it with Dave Matthews and Fish. at Live Oak Bank. And then Saturday, again, we re-upped or released more tickets and did that. But I plan on doing that for every show moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's great and
Absolutely.
important to communicate to the public. But also, so we don't really have a policy on how often you're going to do it. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis, and then the actual number of the tickets that will be held in the respective box offices is going to fluctuate depending on what?
Greenfield Lake's going to kind of stay consistent because that one's it's obviously a smaller venue. It's easier to get done. Live Oak Bank, I hope to have that problem every show, where every show is going to sell out. But the reality is that's not going to happen. So the demand for a show that isn't, one of these powerhouse shows that are coming in won't be as such to where it's needed. Most people are just going to be able to get their ticket online as opposed to come in.
And then one other question. You said that you'll hold them at the box office for a little while, and if they are not purchased at the box office, then they get released online.
Correct.
What type of window of time are we looking at from the time a concert's announced that you would hold these tickets in the box office to give everybody an opportunity to purchase them directly?
Yeah, so as soon as a show gets announced, and then sometimes they're pre-sale for the show. Most of the time pre-sale is for a band's personal VIP or fan club. So when we go on sale to the general public, at that point we will hold it. So it's not going to be after the fact. So when this goes on sale to the general public, we'll hold some tickets back for people to come to the box office and pick up, and it'll be for the duration of the box office hours that day. And then when we close the box office, if there's whatever amount of tickets are left, get released back online.
Okay, so it's one day.
1 day, correct.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot about scalping tickets. What are you guys doing to
Yeah,
beat that?
at my level, I'm not involved with that at a national level. They're meeting with policymakers to try to do some reform on limiting bots and scalpers. Those are the worst thing for ticket prices, because essentially those will just all get bought up, and then before it even can go on sale to the public, those prices are significantly more when bots are involved.
Okay. And I know that there's I think Boys to Men coming there soon or something.
Yeah.
Okay, my wife wants tickets. Are there any of those saved tickets for Wilmington? Are those still left, or?
I didn't understand the question.
Did you save tickets for Wilmington for Boys to Men, or has that already?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that time frame passed.
Has Boys to Men has announced it has gone on sale and it's not sold out, so that show wouldn't meet that window to where Wilmington residents or anyone else wouldn't be able to get the tickets. But there was tickets held aside, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
So you could go online right now and purchase tickets.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Saved my marriage.
You mentioned earlier on, Ryan, about dedicating tickets to the 3 county areas, Pender, Indiana, Brunswick.
Yeah.
How do you, is it an honor system, or how do you determine that?
No, the reality is most likely someone, we sold zip codes from every single state last year. The reality is someone from Arkansas isn't coming to the box office to pick up tickets. So it is on the honor system, and we're not checking IDs or anything like that in order to make sure those residents are getting. But for the Fish show and Dave Matthews, I went down the line and talked to people, asked them where they were at. 100% of people that were in line at the Fish show were from Wilmington, with the exception of one from Myrtle Beach. So those are the folks that are showing up.
So you really haven't got a foolproof way of doing it. It's just,
I guess it's foolproof right now because it hasn't flawed. But if that became an issue to where we're seeing those tickets go outside of a zip code, like for the events we sold Saturday, I can pull and see where all those zip codes were from.
it's not that I've got a problem with somebody coming from Little Rock, Arkansas. The problem is what Cliff was referring to, is people buying them and then turning around and reselling. That's, now, I don't know if there's ever a way to prevent that, but it was something you hear on either major networks, people complaining about it. And
Yeah.
that's what really prompted, from where I said, that's kind of what really prompted you.
Yeah, of course.
Addressing this today.
Yeah, I mean, and some of it is just completely supply and demand. I mean, Dave Matthews and Fish are big underplays for this. I'm thrilled to get them. Artists are wanting to come here and play. So when we have 14,400 tickets to go for Dave Matthews. There's going to be people that aren't going to get them. But I think that this initiative really, really helps to get tickets in the hands of people that we want coming to the show, and not bots and not scalpers, and, you know. Thank you.
On the,
I'm going to go, Neil had his arm up, and then I'm going to go to Kevin next. Go ahead.
yeah, that's fine. The, couple things. So you've been planning this ticket thing, you've been planning it all season. You had it planned, the in-person pickup, which you did Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it was, I don't know, I got earful this weekend that you were just overcrowding in other words, we're doing this to appease people, but the place is sold out. How can there be 100 more seats at a venue that holds 900 people?
Yeah.
So you held back 100. We're not going to go in, they're not going to go in there to that show, and people are going to be out in the woods.
Oh, I can't, yeah, I will never mess with the capacity thing for safety reasons and a million other things. So our capacity is what it is. We have ticketing audits every single day.
So you planned it well and ahead,
Not well and ahead. This has been in work for 3 or 4
okay, well,
weeks.
that's what people wanted, that you were holding those beforehand, and it's not, in other words, like, it felt like to the music community, that at least the people I go to quite a few shows at Greenfield.
Yeah.
And that it was kind of a, we're not looking real good right now for whether we can help it or not, but how do we kind of do an olive branch kind of thing? But you're saying this is planned way in advance.
Yeah, we've been
wasn't reactionary. It was, or if it was reactionary, it was before the season opened up.
Correct, yeah, we've been working on this for a minute. I will admit the timing was really good with all of this in order to get it done, because we've you know, essentially we had 8 sold out shows really early on in the season, which is great. And anytime we can release tickets, and the reality is we release tickets fairly often. Most of the time it's from, if a band holds back a certain amount of tickets, then, and they don't want to use them, then those tickets get obviously released back out.
And your figure, I think you were quoting with your opening comments, was just, that figure is just kind of how things have been shaken out. I mean, in other words, that's the data versus, you know, talking about the 3-county area.
Yeah.
This in-person thing, first time we've ever done it was Saturday, right?
No.
Or in the last week or two, or so, right?
Within the last couple of weeks. We did
Yeah.
Dave Matthews and Fish, yes.
Right. Is, on the in-person scenario, is there a limit there?
4.
Can somebody buy 12 or?
4.
4 tickets? Okay.
And that's common practice for us, is 4.
You know, I think I don't know, do you recall when, it hadn't been forever, maybe a year or two, that Live Nation, that I get the two mixed up, ticket, anyway, doesn't matter, one and the same really at this point, got into the secondary market. When y'all start resell? You know, before y'all just sold the first, and then there was all these other websites, StubHub and everybody that would be the resale. Y'all got in that business at some point, or Ticketmaster or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, I mean, Ticketmaster and Live Nation are one and the other. We've been in the secondary ticket market for, I couldn't give you the exact date, I could find out, but it's been some years.
Well, I think that's the part that really confuses people, and I don't know how, y'all have it written in real small letters that this is secondary, but I mean, it almost be, somehow folks go online, day of, whatever, 9 a.m., they've waited in line, and then 5 minutes in, they're buying a ticket on the secondary market.
Yeah.
From you. So then they think that, you know, the suspicion, as you've heard, I'm sure, is that you're not even selling those tickets the first time. You know, you're selling them, in other words, you're selling them at that higher price.
I can assure you that is not the case. Right. I get ticket audits every single day. That would be a practice that we would not do. Now,
so the bots, which robot, I mean,
they can, yeah.
I got it, but that's what's happening. These companies are buying them up, but it's just it's interesting I've done it. You sit there and watch the little clock for 30 minutes before you time to plug in, and then that's gone. Nothing 6 minutes into it, so people are just skeptical.
And I could understand that. I can speak obviously to what the ticket we're doing in Wilmington, but I can assure everyone involved that our company is trying to work with legislators to limit all of this. And really, that is one of our biggest issues in the ticketing platform is scalpers and bots. They can buy up thousands of tickets in seconds, and then it is lost to the general public that just wants to go to a show.
Really, the only place, I mean, I just flip through all the different news sources all the time, just by nature, but a lot of people do not. Wonder, the city, I don't see any conflict, but, you know, we own those facilities. When you have a day like that, we need to figure out whether we can put it on, I don't know if we can put it on our TV channel, put it on, and just kind of get the word out, because locally.
Yeah.
Because it was really Port City Daily. I don't know that I saw it anywhere else. You know,
Yeah,
so it was just, if you're not it's hard today to get the word out to people because it's so, you know, it's not like everybody goes and gets the Star News and reads it anymore.
Right.
So it used to be easy, but I don't know how others feel about that. But I mean, it's our facility, and if we can help our local people know that that's going on.
The more positive stories going out, the better for us.
And she's going to go into operations, because I think I have questions there.
Yeah, we're going to talk, she's going to show you guys a slide and talk about our community involvement. And then we can both answer questions on our general operations.
Would food and beverage be you or her?
Me. Well, both of us, but yeah,
Okay.
me.
Well, you know, first couple, I don't know how it went all year, but I remember early on in the year last year, I mean, I went to actually your truck, and they didn't even have for some reason didn't have a license. I mean, there was zero food at Greenfield Lake. None. I mean, the
That
food
was
truck
you
was
there that day.
closed. Y'all don't sell hot dogs anymore. Used to, if the food truck was not there, you had a hot dog. So you've got all these people hammering beers, and you got nothing. I mean, zip, and that's inexcusable. We can't have that happen.
You're absolutely correct. That was a miss on our part, and we've remedied that and then some.
And then how do we downtown? It seems to be. I don't know if you could. I don't know. Tell me how you do it, because some shows you go to, there are lots of options, and lines aren't bad. I'm talking about shows where the crowd's relatively the same size too, and then others, brutal. So is that just because some trucks decide, well, we're not coming tonight?
Yeah, I mean, outside food vendors, we if they perceive a show that isn't going to be well attended, or where they don't think that they're going to, make good money, they can opt out. We don't force them to come, so that's part of it. And then there's certain shows where food and beverage just sells better. We always like to have the same ratio of fans to point of sales for food and beverage items.
So there's no way for you to try to ensure that, like, if these people want in, right? Y'all have a carrot and a stick kind of thing here, right? I mean, you could say, you want to be at the fish show?
Yeah.
I need you to be at this show, because the people who come for this other show X, all of a sudden there's nowhere to eat, or not, there's 3 trucks instead of 9. I mean, I just want consistency.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think the Greenfield Lake thing, we've remedied that, but I think last year we did not see nearly the lines that we saw. We flipped around where the food trucks were added. We've added more. So I think that there's a big difference between year 1 and year 2, and year 3 I expect it to be even better.
So at Greenfield, what have you done differently?
We've added, obviously we're bringing in our own food truck for that, and then we've gotten some consistency with Wheels Pizza and some of the other vendors that are coming in, and then it was just, we're doing more out of the concession room this year to remedy that. We're going to sell some more food out of that and have some dedicated stuff to just be in there.
Well, that was kind of my point. I mean, that was something you could rely on, even if it wasn't what you wanted to eat. It was something to eat.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Kevin?
Thank you. I have multiple part questions, but not as complex as Councilman Anderson's. So the first part is this. I want to know what's the process. My first question is this. Where are you two located, where you make the decisions for the entertainment that comes to Greenfield Lake and Live Oak?
We're located here in Wilmington. I live here downtown.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and Heather lives over near Greenfield Lake.
Okay.
But we aren't the
No, I just need to know that you lived in Wilmington.
Pier 33, right next to the venue.
Don't give us your address, okay? It's fine. We don't want people looking for you. The thing is this, for a lot of the talent, we get a lot of complaints saying too much soft rock, too much country. I get it. And you say that I don't know if the 3 counties outside of Wilmington are influencing what talent is brought into Wilmington. And I did hear you mention diversity when you first came to the microphone. But I'm just curious as to the selection process of the entertainment. And yeah, based on what? What data?
Obviously, based on historically what sells good. With the additional shows that you guys granted us, it lets us put more diverse genres and artists in here, but a lot of it has to do with routing and touring. There's not a variable that isn't considered when bringing in talent to an area. So it's not just, hey, I know country will do well in Wilmington. I know jam bands will do well in Wilmington. Is this band touring? Do we have historical data off of it? Are they wanting to come to Wilmington? Will the crowd show up? So there's endless variables that go into it. I think this year, we've done a good job about trying to diversify our shows, and some shows that are going to announce later on this year. Like I said, we've announced 18 out of the 30 that we're going to do. That will check some boxes there to make us the genres of music more diversified.
Okay, that's a good answer, I guess. Because citizens, no, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but, citizens feel like you're playing it safe, because it is Wilmington, you're booking acts that are definitely going to bring bodies to the amphitheaters. But, and there's an investment and a return on investment. And so they feel like you're playing it safe, but you're also Live Nation, and you're at the top as it relates to concerts and talent, the relationship. So people feel like you could bring anybody, and I don't know if people, maybe, I don't know how many entertainers or groups or whatever have heard of Wilmington, but if you tell them, hey, you can sell out this venue, and if the dollar is right, I'm certain they'd come, because there is a diverse base here in Wilmington and the surrounding counties, and that is not just soft rock and country.
I understand what you're saying. I don't think the adage, if you build it, they will come, necessarily works on ticketing. Just because we put something on sale, I mean, we didn't, there was plenty of shows we did not sell out last year, and that's not our reason to not doing shows, any kind of specific genre of shows. So again, I think we've done, last year, I think we did a good job. Year one, we opened up July 16th, had half of a season, did 20 shows. Last year, we got permission to do 25 shows. We ended up doing 22. We lost a couple shows to Ian at the end of the season. And again, this year, we're going to do 30. So obviously, we're still going to do our shows that we know are going to bring people in. And we wouldn't do a show that we didn't think would bring people in just to do a show. So we have full faith that all the shows that we're going to do are going to have good attendance, but the reality is not every show has good attendance. But that won't stop us from doing a genre or an artist or anything like that. It's a factor.
But are you actually asking citizens who they want to see? And that may seem like a simple question, but I think that's a pretty valid question. Are we asking people who they want to see?
People let us know often who they want to see. It's usually they'll comment who they don't want to see when we announce a band, but the general public is very vocal on letting us know what bands they want to come in.
Okay.
But there is not an open platform outside of social that would have someone. There's not a survey that goes out or anything like that, but we absolutely do listen to what people want to see in our market.
Okay, cool. And I got one more question.
Of course.
You mentioned the food truck that Live Nation or Live Nation or Live Oak is going to have their own food truck?
Yeah, we had them last year as well. There are food trailers that are ours with DLS that we own, and then the food trucks, local vendor food trucks supplement ours.
Okay.
And that was
I
in
mean,
place all of last year.
Okay, I get that, but you know, we also get some complaints about Greenfield Lake too. Greenfield Lake was more of a homegrown, homey field type of amphitheater, and the promoters and people who really frequent that concerts over there are feeling displaced. And you know, Neil made a great point that people definitely want to eat while they drink or whatever they do over there. But I mean, it kind of feels a little like a monopoly. If you bring the entertainment, you've taken over the venue, and now you supply the food trucks as well. Like, let's really give some entrepreneurs an opportunity to get in there and get some of those dollars.
Yeah.
Put more effort. I'm not saying that you're not doing it, but I'm saying let's really make a really strong effort to get some entrepreneurship taking place over there.
Yeah, I agree, and I think especially when we talk about the community involvement, one of my goals this year is do a better job of showcasing what we're doing. Some of the stuff that Heather's going to go over with you guys, we've been doing since day one, but we have done a poor job about letting the people know about that. So that's one of my goals this year is to increase that. But we work with, you know, every single food truck and local vendor that we work with, especially the food trucks, we highlight them on our social media. And so we have, our social media here in Wilmington has a better reach than our counterparts in engagement than our counterparts in Raleigh and Charlotte in much bigger markets. So every single food truck that's played at Live Oak Bank or Greenfield Lake goes on our social media. We highlight that company. And, you know, our reach is fairly significant on that. So we are absolutely doing that. I 100% agree that Greenfield Lake is a homegrown venue. We're seeing artists that play Greenfield Lake that are now playing our bigger amphitheaters and or coming to do underplays. And I've tried really hard to keep the feel of Greenfield Lake what it is. I don't charge the same prices at Greenfield Lake as we do at Live Oak Bank. This year, you'll see for the Lucas Nelson shows and then any other shows that are coming up, and Heather, I'm going to steal some of your thunder real quick to answer the question. We are going to have local vendors and artisans come out front on the grass at Greenfield Lake and sell to the public whatever, if they want to sell candles or organic honey or whatever it may be, and we're going to give them that platform free of charge to come out and sell. And quite frankly, I think that'll add to the experience of coming to Greenfield Lake, so that's a cool program that we're going to start show one at Lucas Nelson, and we'll do it for as many shows as people want to come out. We're going to have to limit that number for space and logistics, but we're working through that list of artisans now.
Great.
Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Hey, Ryan, real quick, so between Greenfield Lake and Live Oak, we have 70 shows.
Not including the civic events that we'll produce for Azalea Fest,
Sure.
Work on Wilmington, some of the other ones, but yes.
Okay, so we have, 40 shows at Greenfield? And 30 shows
At Live Oak.
So that gives you enough opportunity, whether it be a smaller venue or a larger venue like Live Oak, to be able to bring in different genres of music.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys granting us those additional shows tremendously helps out.
Okay.
And again, I think you'll see that at the end of the year. I'd like to come in at the end of the year. I'll give you guys a recap. Just like I did after year one, that quite frankly, I wish I had done year two. Yeah. My opening will be better than today's. But I'm looking forward to showing those stats.
I mean, I know everybody wants, their band to come, and my band is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know if we'll ever get them here, but, that's my band. And, I'll scream and die and say, oh, Live Nation is horrible. They can't give me the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I know I probably need about 20 to 30,000 people, but that's another story. So we can bring in the different genre of music, and I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I understand some of what you're saying. To Neil's point and to other people's point in regards to the food trucks, just so I can get a bit more specific, you have your own catering food trucks.
Trailers, yes.
That you folks have at Live Oak and at Greenfield, correct?
Yes.
And then you also allow the food truck vendors, the local food truck vendors, because we wanted to have local flair in there, come there. I've understood from time to time, and I know specifically one incident which was not y'all, it was during the Azalea Festival, where a food truck operator did not show up. And there
happens.
were people waiting in line, like Charlie and a lot of others, for hours. And we got blamed for it, and you got blamed for it. But it wasn't you, it wasn't us, it was Azalea Festival, correct?
Well, it wasn't Azalea Festival. It was that local vendor that essentially, and I'll never point the finger at a local vendor. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for that venue. So what happens there is on me.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is this: if you have a vendor that's supposed to be there, that has a responsibility to be there because he has told you he's going to be there, and he doesn't show up for whatever known reason, do you use him again?
If it's a warning system, and we say, hey, you know, we're a partnership in this. Please don't do this to us again. But the reality is that vendor that did that, we invited back a couple shows later, and they showed up and they said, we're incredibly sorry, and it hasn't happened since.
Never apologize to us, but that's fine. So the other thing is, if that vendor doesn't show up, and you know he's not going to show up, do you have a backup plan that in the event that that vendor doesn't show up and you have 7,200 people in the venue, and Neil Anderson is hungry and he wants to come eat, but now he's upset because he can't get a hot dog, do you have a backup plan to bring somebody to the table?
Yes and no. If we have enough time and we know that person's not going to show up, and even if we don't have enough time, we will try to reach out to the ones that we know. But these people are usually planning their events weeks and months ahead. So to keep someone on standby would be very difficult. But for us internally, if that happens, I will try to add more cooks to a kitchen. I'll try to add more point of sales for ours. So I never want there to not be options. We don't make our money or anyone's money by having people wait in long lines. So we do everything we can to limit that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think you should have a backup plan because things do happen, especially with small operators that are running a food truck. The food truck may go down, something might happen, a cook doesn't show up, they can't come to the venue. You're down one truck or two trucks, and then all of a sudden people are upset about it. And unfortunately, you're the ones that are getting the blame for it, and we are too. And it may be just the small operator that just couldn't get there for one reason. And I understand things happen, but I would hope that y'all could have some backup plans just in the event that those things happen, because we do happen. So the other thing that I want to ask you is this: do you or does anybody allow or notify the general public? And I know this was a big thing with the Live Nation, and I think it's a great thing that the Riverwalk is open and it's free. In the event that somebody's trying to get a ticket to Dave Matthews and it's for whatever no reason the bots have gotten, or the robots or whatever in the heck they are, these algorithms that are buying these tickets, and it's $1,300 to see Dave Matthews, and the guy says, I can't afford $1,300, and I understand. But we do have the Riverwalk that's open. Do we promote that? Do you tell people that? Because I think you should.
We historically have not. The other side of that is there's obviously a safety issue with overcrowding the Riverwalk, so that's something I'm very, very mindful of. I go out and I count, and if I don't, Heather will do it. Every single show, I'll count to see how many people are on the Riverwalk. The last year, the most I want to say was Darius Rucker, and that was 280 people on the Riverwalk and 18 boats out in the river there as well. So I'd be leery to shout it from the rooftops for a safety and capacity concern, because we limit the amount of people we put on the Riverwalk for ingress just normally in order to not have that issue, because the last thing I want is for emergency services or someone to not be able to get through there.
Gotcha.
If you guys remember, there was a car that drove on the Riverwalk last year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it made it fairly far down the Riverwalk. So as I'm not, solely responsible for the Riverwalk, I'm very mindful of what happens over there.
Mr. Mayor, I've just got to jump in.
Get in here.
We've already told the staff to make sure that folks on the Riverwalk continue to move. The way those Riverwalks are built, they're not designed to accept a weight load of 200 pounds per square foot. And if you have folks, it's like a parking deck. If you have folks standing on a parking deck, it's more weight than if a car is there. And so the same thing goes for the Riverwalk. If they stand there, then there's more weight. And we are very cognizant because of number of municipal situations in which structures have collapsed. We're very cognizant of trying to keep people moving on the Riverwalk so that we don't have that dead weight load right in one place. I just got to put that in there.
Right. Thank you. All right, Lou?
I have a question, just back to ticketing. Seems to be a policy of Live Nation not to, they'll advertise the show, that a show's coming, in a few months, Dave Matthews, something like that. And there won't be any discussion of ticket pricing until the tickets are actually released. So is that a policy of Ticketmaster to just not announce the pricing of the tickets until the day of? Because it looks a little bit non-transparent to a bunch of people who are interested in what they're going to end up paying until, the day of that the tickets are actually put on the market.
I don't know if that's policy or just historically how things have done. I can find out on that for you if you'd like.
I think it would be helpful to the community at large, just to even a range of, hey, here's what we're planning to release them at. Obviously, markets change, and the day of, it may fluctuate. I'm sure there's some dynamic pricing models that you guys utilize, and that's perfectly fine. But I think it would be a nice, obviously you guys are a large operation, and we would do this outside of just Wilmington, but some comments I've heard regarding that.
Yeah, I'll find out on if that's a policy or not. I don't know the answer to that.
Thanks.
All right, Ryan.
Perfect.
You going to turn it over?
Yeah, let's, can we play that slideshow real quick?
And also, if you're going to be speaking, can you bring that microphone down so we can see you? Oh, man. Who's this? What concert is this?
Do I have a way to change it or no?
Yeah, we just wanted to show you guys a picture of each of the venues during a concert and just how beautiful these places are.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
All right, Heather, kick it off.
All right, I'm going to speak a little bit about our community involvement and sustainability numbers. Recently, March 11th, actually, we held an event called She Rocks at Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. This was for International Women's Day, and our main purpose was to support women. It was a donation drive for the local women's domestic violence shelter here in Wilmington. All these were female people that we supported. We had 18 vendors, 2 female-led workout classes. We had a food truck, Ayana's Italian Ice, and we had a musician. Another thing our next slide, we're going to go over the amount of money that we collected for the domestic violence shelter. We got $1,300 in monetary donations, $200 in gift cards, and we filled an entire Chevy Traverse with shelter wish list items. Other ways we've been involved with the community this year, Cape Fear Tree Alliance let us come out to their event, and we gave out cookies and lemonade. We had the bubble machine going, and we just tried to make it a fun atmosphere there, and we're grateful for them letting us be a part of that event. We've done some spring cleanups here. We did spring cleanup at Greenfield Lake. We partnered with Plastic Ocean Project, the Penguin, and Port City, Java. We did a summer cleanup off Highway 421, which was hosted by Plastic Ocean Project. A fall paddle cleanup with Archie Blue Community Park. We partnered with Cape Fear River Watch, Paddle NC, and Plastic Ocean Project. We've also donated over 487 pounds of leftover catering food to the Good Shepherd Center. Those were after shows, the food that was left over from the band. And we've also started this year getting more involved with the community. We've already done a cleanup at Archie Blue Community Park with Plastic Ocean Project. We have Ashley High School coming out to Greenfield Lake and Live Oak Bank, and we're going to give them a tour. We're going to talk to them about the different positions we have at the venues, give them some career advice, and we're going to talk to them about what it takes to produce a show. We also have an active community hub, which is a space for local organizations to share their sustainability message. We give them space at Live Oak Bank and at Greenfield Lake. They get a tent. They can speak to concert goers about their organization, and sometimes they'll even collect volunteers that way. We'll also share their organization on our social media. Both venues have about 10,000 followers, so we really get their name out there. And for sustainability, at Live Oak Bank Pavilion, we've composted 18,808 pounds, recycled 32,309 pounds, and we've donated 1,298 pounds of clothing and accessories to Vintage Values, who partners with the domestic violence shelter. So our overall diversion rate at Live Oak Bank is 70.74%. And at Greenfield Lake, We have composted 6,685 pounds, recycled 35,321 pounds, and donated 275 pounds of clothing and accessories to Vintage Values. And we've saved over 2,220 water bottles, and our overall diversion rate is 84.22%.
Good work.
Thank you.
That's great.
Should have had you start this off today. Nice job. Yeah, so some of the other notable numbers that we'd like to talk about, Greenfield Lake. After every single show, if you have purchased a ticket through Ticketmaster, a survey typically goes out, and it'll ask you all kinds of questions, restroom cleanliness, how much you like the show. Greenfield Lake finished #1 in the country for fan survey with 98% positive fan survey. #1 in the country. Like,
Number one in the country.
#1 in the country for Live Nation, which is phenomenal. And Live Oak Bank was finished at 80%, which is a very respectable number as well. So most of the stuff we hear from Live Oak Bank is some of the stuff is going to be remedied with the construction getting in, and then the lack of parking are the two things that we hear the most there, where Greenfield Lake, we don't have those issues. So 98, awesome numbers. Our concessionaire teamed up with last year with 8 local breweries. We sold over 18,000 cans of local beer coming out of here, and a lot of it at Greenfield Lake, but we feature the same beers at the same number of stations at Live Oak Bank as well. Anytime we put together a gift basket for the crew coming in or the artists or whoever, we always try to shop locally as well. So we've used Casablanca Roasters for our coffee backstage. We highlight them. This year we are using Salt and Charm as our local catering vendor. So unless a band is traveling with their own personal catering, Salt and Charm is going to be feeding these bands that come in at Live Oak. And we will continue to use Front Street for Greenfield Lake. They did almost all of the shows at Greenfield Lake. So that is also not terribly usual in our market, in our industry, that we're doing everything as local as we possibly can here. And again, this isn't new stuff this year. This is stuff that we've been doing for a couple years now that we just need to do a better job of highlighting. We also continue to want to build on that sustainability thing. I'm glad Heather kind of went over those numbers, because we have an obligation to try to get to a zero carbon footprint at these venues. And there was 3 months last year at Greenfield Lake that we hit over 90% of diversion not going into the landfill. So I think those are all incredible storylines. We were 3rd and 5th in the country year 1, and we were 3rd and 6th in the country this year for our diversion rates with Live Nation for all of our other venues. That is our presentation. I'm happy to answer any general operations questions.
Mr. Revmar.
You have any questions you want to ask of us?
No, I'm in constant communication with you guys. We have weekly calls. I talk to Amy every single week. I talk to Dave Pugh every single day just about. So this partnership is very, very good. There's not a piece of it that I would change, that we're able to change, outside of, again, parking is a frustration. And once we get through the Metropolitan opening, that whole area of downtown is going to be drastically different. And we're just seeing the amount of growth just in that corner of downtown is unreal. There's some residents that are going to get really good shows from their balconies coming up.
Well, hopefully we're going to be one of your neighbors down there pretty soon.
I hope so too. That'll be good. There's going to be a lot of stuff down there. You guys are going to get the greatest show from that rooftop if you want.
Well, just out of curiosity, I was just down there the other day, and I saw the Metropolitan and all those units, I guess, that are building, that are facing the park.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. It's like a stadium effect in there with what they call skyboxes. And
Yeah.
I guess they are going to get some great shows
Oh,
up there.
absolutely. So
It's about
they're going to get
70
some great
units,
shows that'll change the acoustics of that area. I think you guys have already probably seen that just from the parking deck being there. You're seeing some reverb and stuff bouncing off there. But I think with the facades and once everything comes to play, it's really going to change that area for the good. And once we can get that main corridor down there, we're off to the races.
Well, Ryan, I hope that I know that you guys continue to tweak the operation there, and I know you're always taking feedback from the community and from us, and we appreciate you doing that. I know it's been kind of a challenging environment down at Live Oak because of the construction that has been going on down there and with the parking situation. And hopefully that'll be rectified, but just appreciate all your work and being sensitive to the issues that we are all hearing up here and trying to address them the best you can. The irony of this is, and this has nothing to do with you, Ryan, but I just want to remind the council, many years ago, we talked about a baseball stadium, and this baseball stadium was going to have 70 games. 70.
70.
And you have 70 shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that we would
Go
bring more
figure.
people downtown than the baseball games. I love baseball,
Right.
but I'm glad to be here, and I'm actually glad that Councilmember Spears asked that question.
Yeah.
I live here. You know, these are the venues that I work at. Same with Heather. Same with all the 500+ employees that we have between the two venues. So this is our home.
Yeah.
I've
So,
got a question.
Curiosity, I know we talked about the Riverwalk, but the river, when they're anchoring in the river,
Yeah.
and you said the largest crowd you've seen is 18 boats in the river, or you've seen more than that? 'Cause
No,
I would-
18 was the largest I saw. Usually it's 2 or 3, and it's funny, it's the same demand as the show demand goes up. The more boats go out there, the nicer the weather, the more that they're out there. It's a cool factor to the venue that I don't know any other venue. Even Greenfield Lake, we have people that sit in kayaks out there and listen to
In the
shows.
back
It's-
there, yeah.
It's unlike anything else at any of our other venues.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Barnett?
Just a quick question, follow-up for me. Pricing of the tickets, because I remember receiving a number of emails about the cost of a ticket. How is that, how do you determine that?
That's determined at the level of our talent buyers and the artist management. We don't solely decide ticket prices. That's a conversation when they're booking an artist on what ticket prices are going to be and how it's structured.
Okay, and you mentioned a couple of times that you're ticketed, audited every week or every day. What does that entail?
I'm sorry. When I say audit, it's the audit I get. We're not audited. We can be audited at any time, but it's the audit that I get that breaks down every single ticket, where it was sold, how many were sold. It's just our general ticketing numbers.
Okay, and
Should
then
explain
the last question would be the acoustics, because we used to hear a lot of complaints about the sound. Is that getting any better? Are you hearing that, or?
The sound, a lot of that has to do, and when I imagine if you were to look at complaints, when it gets cold and the humidity drops, that sound will carry astronomically further than on a hot summer day. But every single show, our production manager has a decibel reader, and we take decibel readings and we log those from the front of house tent mix and at the back of the lawn at different times. If there's an opener, we log it at the opener. If there's a headline, we log it at the headliner, and throughout a couple shows, and we always stick within those thresholds. So some of it is weather, some of it's, bass carries more than anything else. So it just, if it's a high bass show, you could potentially hear more of that. But we monitor, at both venues, we monitor our decibel levels very, very closely.
Okay.
And log them.
All right, thank you. Good
Yeah.
presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Neil?
We better quit soon because I'll keep coming up with questions. The what do you call it? Sound booth tent. Is there any solution there to? I mean, I know that why it's there, and I understand the whole concept, but we didn't put a ton of grade in the lawn, and it just kind of it's a problem, but it's also a necessity. So have you tried to figure out workarounds or ways to make it less visually impaired?
We're working on a couple different options now, and possibly, one of the things, when I say now, this week and weeks prior, we're looking at changing that out to something that can have a much lower profile, because you guys go to shows and you see the line right down the middle. So it is an absolute focus, and I think I'll have something this year to remedy that.
Okay, look forward to that. Thanks.
Me as well.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the good work.
Thanks for your
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, with that, stand adjourned.